Dankeschön. Hello, great to have you all here today for the panel XR Goes Mobile. Yeah, first of all, I want to clarify a little bit your expectations. So, is it about XR for mobiles? And I want to ask you a first question. By accident, I was asked the question last week, how many time it took to reach a user base of 50 million for a car. And it was 62 years. So I had an impression this morning all these 50 million cars are driving to Munich, but next to that, we see the phone. It took the telephone 50 years to reach a user base of 50 million. How long do you think it takes for Pokemon Go to reach this user base? Any estimation? Sorry, please? 6 months. 6 months. To exactly, it was 90 days. So 90 days to reach 50 million users, which is really a great story, and this has brought really AR to the masses. But I don't think that we are producing future zombies any longer. So maybe the talk is, the panel is about XR for mobility. So there are some use cases, navigation, finding your vehicle, but I think the most common word or keyword here is talking about autonomous driving. But keep in mind, you spend a lot of time in passive mobility, where you're just a passenger of public transport or passenger of a car. And how to make use of this kind of additional time could be one of the topics of the panel. Maybe we talk about mobile solutions as well. And everything has in common, it's about people. So, and that's the focus we should have in every area and every use case. And what is the requirement for such a scenario? I have been preaching and praying for an open XR ecosystem for years. We had a remarkable progress in nearly every area. So it's about computer vision, it's recognition, localization parts, it's about 5G, it's an upcoming support of these technologies. We have all these new sensor technologies, and of course, even more compute power. And we are talking about the merge of these kind of technologies. But to make them accessible, we need a kind of open interface and standards. And it was last year where the foundation of the AR cloud was announced here at AWE in Munich. So the ecosystem is on its way, and it's growing. And all that helps to create XR experiences. So the technical boundaries are going to disappear. It's up to the content creator, to the UX specialists to take care about seamless experiences. And this is not to transfer the 2D behavior into the XR world. We are living in a multidimensional world and interacting in space. So the ecosystem helps to support a seamless experience. So how to create this kind of content? How to deal with the UX challenges? And how to reach your clients? No worries, I'm not talking about these topics, so I'm glad to invite the experts here to talk with you the next 40 minutes about exactly these kind of different approaches you have. So please meet your experts and welcome on stage Dominik Möcklin, Chief Sales Officer from VRdirect.
Aber die Zeit läuft schon, doch jetzt funktioniert's. Hallo, mein Name ist Dominik Möcklin, ich bin von VRdirect. Ich verantworte bei VRdirect den Sales, sorry in English, I have to change. I'm from VRdirect, sorry, all this confusing. We are a virtual reality platform for authoring and publishing, and we try to make the VR world easy to everyone. So we claim to be the easiest solution to start with virtual reality, and this is very easy with our platform that I mentioned right now. So you don't need any expert skills. All you need is 360 content, pictures, videos, CGI, whatever you have in your company or on your computer, and then you just upload it to our VRdirect cloud. You can author all the stuff together and put multimedia on top of it, and instantly publish it to the Oculus Go, a mobile device, or in your web player. So you just can use our iframe link and put it everywhere you need. And this is everything within minutes. And if you want to see it live, you can visit us at booth 405, and we are happy to show you a live demo and show you like stuff we are doing with MAN or Siemens or Porsche and other companies.
Thank you, Dominik. Next on stage, Lorenz Schweiger from Audi Business Innovation, and he is the head behind the automotive visualization platform. So please welcome Lorenz.
Hello. Yeah, Lorenz Schweiger from Audi Business Innovation. I'm responsible for the strategy of the automotive visualization platform. So Audi Business Innovation is, next to other areas, involved in build and running the digital platform on the dealer stores, our so-called digital retail platform, and it's basically a 3D configurator which is VR ready. So we have around 1,000 installations worldwide of this kind. And in the past years we were heavily investing in pipelines to automate the process to get from the CAD data at the beginning, from the source data to a final model which is VR ready. And at the moment we are in a stage where we can transform and perform this data pipeline within 20 minutes. And I think pipelining and having rapid pipelines is one main challenge if you want to have VR or XR available on mobile devices. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Lorenz. Next on stage, Martin Liboska. It's lead of 5G Cloud XR from Deutsche Telekom.
Yeah, hello. My name is Martin Liboska. I work at Deutsche Telekom in technology and innovation, specifically in the 5G Cloud XR program, as we call it. It's all about, of course, connectivity in 5G and edge computing. And we at Deutsche Telekom have a vision of spatial computing, or XR, which is eventually becoming really the next interface to a fully converged physical and digital world. And today I'm here to really bring some aspects of what we at Deutsche Telekom contribute to the ecosystem in terms of making it truly mobile, but not sacrificing any quality, anything that devices have to overcome today in terms of computing power and in terms of truly immersive experiences. Yeah.
Thank you. And the next on stage will be Gerrit from Holoride. Please, Gerrit.
Hello, my name is Gerrit Lochmann. I'm software engineer in the passenger VR startup Holoride, and our vision is to change the way people are entertained in a moving vehicle. And well, my part of that is to create and lead the development of the Elastic SDK. This is basically the way how we replace the world, or we give the opportunity for content creators to change what passengers see when they use our VR solution. And this content is not, as you know from a VR roller coaster, maybe where the route is known, but rather we try to have this kind of elastic content that really snaps to any possible route, and we want to provide a solution for that. And yeah, that's what we're working on. What I'm working on.
Thank you. And next on stage, Alastair Eilbeck. He is a creative mind and director of MeYouandUs. Please welcome Alastair.
Hi, yeah, I'm Alastair. We're from a small creative art studio, MeYouandUs, and we specialize in creative interventions into people's everyday lives. And the project that I'm here probably most for is our recent one called Fantasia Express, which looked at deploying augmented reality and other locative media on fast-moving trains, basically connecting passengers and with stories and the locations that go past through the window. And that was a project funded by the Department of Transport. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And last but not least, welcome Jay Latta, your companion investigator and host of the panel for the next 40 minutes. Thank you.
Hello, Jay Latta. I'm from STINT, Strategic Intelligence for New Technologies. We are responsible for the whole prerequisites, what is really needed to foster these kind of technologies. And 40 minutes, not anymore. We have a bit less. So let's hop in and let's try to figure out how we can bring things on the road. I mean, the main topic here about this panel is XR goes mobile. As first, we need some kind of infrastructure, right? Because without infrastructure, no content. So Martin, maybe let's start with you about the connectivity, the edge computing. What do we exactly need for XR to go mobile?
Yeah, so with 5G and edge computing as technologies, that 5G is launching all over the world. It has launched recently in Germany. We're bringing actually for the first time the capability of bringing cloud computing at very low latency in real time to devices which are moving along with their users all over the place, all over the country. And therefore it enables experiences that as of today are mainly available only on tethered virtual reality devices, which are utilizing computing power from a huge gaming PC or something like that. And that's what we're currently working on. We are distributing our data centers that will then allow users to have this computing power available in order to have much more immersive experiences than any mobile device currently is capable to actually do right now.
Okay, so we are talking about shared resources, nothing that I need. I don't need my gaming PC on my shoulders to carry it with me or any kind of high sophisticated computer engine. They will be only available or necessary to visualize my content. So I can use your data transmission and the compute power in your, however it looks like, shared cloud, right?
Exactly. 5G allows a lot more capacity that we can transmit to the devices, and it has also the benefits of low latency and something that we call network slicing. So in future we will be able to have dedicated resources for a certain application in the network and dedicated capabilities that allow then, let's say, a lot of, upload stream or a lot of download stream depending on what the application is demanding from the computing. And we can stream lots of data that is rendered actually in virtually unlimited cloudlets to the device, and it allows for an experience that usually is just, with a backpack PC possible today, or well, in a very stationary environment like tethered.
Okay. This means we are not depending on pre-compiled, preset content anymore. When we talk then about pipelining, for example, how this stuff will be delivered. Is it a burst? Is it something compressed? Is it a continuous stream? I mean, if it's a continuous stream, we will be doomed if the connection is lost. Would not be the first time from the Telekom or whomever. So how about this delivery, this technical, how you call it, pipelining? Tell me something about this. Come on, who is here for pipelining?
Is it directed to me?
Audi, no, come on. How do you deal? I mean, you had, for example, this one experience everyone knows from Holoride in the Audi and playing some kind of games in the car. How was this exactly made? I mean, there was no cloud data center behind. Was it generated in the car? Was it? How do you really make it?
So. You're speaking of the Holoride experience we launched in for the CES. This was done in a traditional way because the route that we traveled was known in advance. So the content creator, he just needed to place that particular assets he had over that fixed route, and by having that fixed experience, the sensors and the GPS traveled along this fixed path, and by that we got that experience that is similar in a way to that roller coaster experience, but in a car.
Okay, Audi. How about the future? How can you involve an XR experience, not just for your brand, but in automotive itself? What kind of use cases? Now I would like to switch to the use cases. How is it possible to involve this? What are feasible use cases? What is something? I mean, it's nice to play Beat Saber in a car or from the backseat, but nothing that you will do all the time. So, what can we expect, for example?
Let me maybe get back to the pipeline topic,
sure.
because before we talk about the experiences which would be possible. So I think what you mentioned, bandwidth, of course, is always great to get the stuff on the devices and the 3D scenes on the devices. But I think we will still have a time frame of an intermediate situation where we still have to rely on smaller bandwidth and maybe not so high reactive communication procedures. And that's why for the first step we are still working on getting the model small. Getting the model small through pipelines to be able to stream them through smaller bandwidths to the devices. And on the other hand, another problem is that I see on the one hand the performance of the devices on their own. So even if we could stream a 1 gigabyte model, for example, just like that on a mobile device, it would still be heavy to handle this kind of model in a real-time scenario. The other chance would be to render everything in the cloud. So then in this case you would be independent from the performance of your device. But As some of you might know, we have still the problem of GPU availability in the cloud. So CPU availability is not a problem, but GPU is still a problem, and it's still a problem of costs. And that's why we still run a mixture out of, on the one hand, on-premise installation with locations with low bandwidth, then locations with small hardware but good bandwidth could rely on streaming possibilities, which is still expensive in terms of consumed minutes. And the third thing is really to stream 3D model, but then in a small size. And this is what we are currently working on to define and to create automated processes to get those huge models. At the moment, we talk about 1 gigabyte for one Audi model in full configuration, to crunch that down to maybe 50 or 30 megabytes per one model. And this is something we work on. So that's first for the pipeline topic, and how do we get the content to devices, because from my point of view, this is still one of the biggest challenges next to the use cases that we have.
Okay.
Data availability.
Is there any kind of cooperation between the industry, some kind of cross-industry acceptance to develop something to bring content onto mobile devices, not smartphones, but really when you are mobile, when you are sitting in a train, in a plane, in a car, wherever. Because always just to be focused on one brand, that they have their own closed source solution, is, I guess, something that will annoy the customers very fast. So is there any kind of interdisciplinary come together with the big brands to find a solution that is a seamless experience?
At the moment, we still rely on the existing infrastructure, that's right, but we are rethinking that approach. And you're right, so we have to broaden, and that's why we rely more and more on technologies out of the game industry, of course, to spread the content all over the world. So at the moment, there's a quite good cooperation between gaming industry and old industry, so to say. It works really good, but on the other hand, we have to rely on existing infrastructure, and we have to change existing systems. So we are in a permanent change process. So for a startup, it's quite easy to get out of the door and start a greenfield project. But if you have existing stores, for example, or existing customers, you have to change their content on existing infrastructure, and that's not so. We are not able to progress that fast or so fast as we would wish or would like to.
How fast would you be able to adapt if anyone else shows you that he's able to do it that fast?
Extremely fast.
Oh, okay. So you just need a kind of the right motivation, right?
Yeah, but I think, sorry to interrupt, I think there are more like very good initiatives, at least Audi and Deutsche Telekom in the city of Ingolstadt just announced a cooperation on building there an infrastructure for real-time syncing of cars, light posts and traffic lights and everything that will actually allow, in the end, a much smoother way of traffic control and traffic regulation. And I think these are very good examples. Also, Deutsche Telekom, we do understand, okay, we have this infrastructure right now, we're building it up, but we have to work together with partners from the XR ecosystem, with automotives and with all kinds of different parties who want to really bring their technology to the next level. We are open to really give them access, early access also to the infrastructure that will be rolled out definitely in the next couple of years, but which is existing today. So I think there are good signs of the industry, cross-industry collaboration to pipeline the experience.
Yeah, exactly. what we do is we talk, as you said, to anyone. We talk to the content industry, we talk to car manufacturers, we talk to HMD vendors, and we want to bring together all of it into a single platform, and we want to enable them to incorporate with each other on a also on a code level, on an API level, so that we try to find out what are the different interfaces for all of these companies, and then we want to create, or that we're going to create a platform where everyone can contribute the way he is. He's the best. He's good at, right?
Right.
Immersive is starting over since I don't know how many years, decades. We need some faster progress, not just on the infrastructure side, on the whole compute, on the content delivery, whatever. The right use cases are, of course, something that we need. You had in your intro this train going on with solutions when you are mobile, when you are on the way somewhere. What is your idea of bringing really valuable content or valuable use cases to the customer so that they will be, it's far more than just Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
What do we need?
So it's difficult because in terms of useful use cases, I'm representing the creative side, which is more like the intangible. What we're seeing is that I think, especially in mobility, walking down the streets, looks like there's 6 or 7 different types of electric scooter that you can get on. They're all doing exactly the same thing. But how do you separate? How do you differentiate that? And so I think this is where creativity potentially kind of comes in that brands are, if everybody's doing the same service, then how do they differentiate from themselves? How do they make that the practical more than just practical? So for me, the use cases, and it's like I said at the beginning, we're about creating creative interventions in the people's everyday. And Jan mentioned it at the beginning that we are captive audiences in vehicles. We're going to consistently become more like passengers and not drivers, and on public transport. And this technology is just opening doors to really great ways of spending that time. So the use cases for me is just being able to have a creative experience and personally the way that we're at is about that connects you to your locations as well. That has a very locative element to it. So you're not taking, I guess the slight different angle between Holoride and where we are is that Holoride is putting you in a virtual world. We're trying to make you present and kind of talk to your passengers, fellow passengers, and bring what's going on outside the window into that space.
What about the customer itself? What about content creation? In a company, for example, mostly we have to deal with content that is somehow delivered to us, that someone programmed, that someone designed, and what if I see that it's not really the thing that I want to change something? How can we enable the business customers to make smaller or bigger improvements? Do you have any idea?
Yeah, sure. This is our business actually. Regarding to use cases, I think the use case, if the use case is right and someone pays for it, the infrastructure and the skill level can follow very fast. I think this is also what you said when you asked if someone else is doing it, can you follow? Yes, sure, we can. And I think it's all about the use case and the ROI behind it. And regarding the content, for sure, today the 360 cameras are available for $300 right now. They are out there, like the Insta360. No advertisement here, or a Ricoh or whatever you want to use. And they easily can build some nice pictures. They stitch by themselves, and you just have to. I use it for my holidays, as an example, and do some 360 pictures there. And I think it's just the next wave of producing content, and in the future, I'm pretty sure in the near future, we will have the first 360 cameras available in our mobile phones, and then the game is on. So then there will be a lot of content around everywhere. And right now, when we have a company that comes to us and asks us, hey, we have CGI content, but it's not the one that we need actually, we just send a photographer there, or sometimes the big companies have their own 360 photographers already. They just produce the content, and then they start bringing it mobile. And this is what we do every day right now. But with the limitation that you mentioned as well, we just can bring it in a, let's say, like download experience. We just can compress it to the minimum that the mobile device can manage, and then the user can download it and yeah, experience whenever he wants. We are not right there that we can consume it in planes or trains in a seamless way. You know, that's not the level of infrastructure that we experience right now.
Now that you mentioned the downloadable content, we all know this kind of crappy from every kind of store with your cell phone. You can this freemium stuff download, and then you are annoyed all the time with pay me this, pay me that, some banner here. How can we prevent this? I mean, this might be a huge showstopper. When you are then in an immersive experience doing something, first is, Jan mentioned it, zombies. People who are distracted, people who fall down the stairs, people maybe when they are distracted in a train or in a car, whatever. This is the first thing. Second thing is being overwhelmed with too much stuff. So how could we, for example, implement a kind of guardian mode? No idea. There is one movie, it was on LinkedIn, that shows you enter a store and everything is plastered full of super low price, super something like this. This is one of the dangers, for example, when you download content for free. Are there any kind of thoughts how to prevent this? Because when you are mobile, when you are on the road, in your XR experience, how can we deal with this?
Yeah, well, it feels like all roads sort of lead to advertising in this space. And yeah, I don't know how you avoid that. And I think that's where a lot of the money is going to be coming.
Sure, advertising, but this kind of guardian mode that turns everything disturbing off. It needs to be implemented in the hardware, in the delivery, in the content delivery, maybe even in the content creation.
Well, I would say that one possibility or one source that you need is information about who is consuming, which means it's necessary to have some background information of the customer, and that's for sure something every company or every bigger company tries to do, to collect information and to get out who's sitting in front of the device. To steer the availability of the content and to focus more. What we are currently working on in the car industry or at Volkswagen is somehow personalized configurator, because today if you visit a website, for example, you have this blank configuration where you choose, for example, one special car like A5 or a Charan or something like that, because you think that might be the right car for me. But as always, maybe the artificial intelligence knows more about that, what you really need. And this is something that I think will be used from a methodology in the future to get out what's the right product for the customer. And as soon as you have enough information to process about the person who's sitting in front of the device, it would be possible to give a kind of proposition. What would be the right product for you? So, for example, a system knows, okay, your father, you have 4 children, and your wife is pregnant maybe. Yeah, and then you get the proposition for a bus or something like that. That would be something for the car industry to think about. I think yeah, for other products it's the same. Yeah, to collect information and let the system judge and give some propositions.
Yeah, I think especially with the AR on mobile AR, you get this lens where it's not just you looking at what you're looking, but the developers or the company that owns the app knows what you're looking at. So that provides a whole new analytical framework to understand people's behavior beyond the typical kind of Amazon or just looking at a screen, knowing your browsing habits, knowing your physical habits, and knowing what you're actually looking at. Because especially with glasses, I think that opens a whole new kind of world of what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. And maybe the adverts become less because they can be so targeted that you don't need to blanket advertise so much.
I mean, it's clear that we as human beings do perceive the reality already quite filtered. Mm-hmm. And you filter it because the amount of information that our brain is able to process, if we were able to really sense everything, it would explode. Yeah. So therefore, there are like already mechanisms for that. Now that we put more information, which can be very valuable, it's really the responsibility of the whole ecosystem and the developers to really create content in a way that is taking into account, security stuff like, I'm walking a staircase, so I maybe don't want to have 1,000 pieces of different information on that staircase right now because it's more a situation of I'm moving, or I'm walking over, the street. And I think the technology, like, eye tracking that and basically computer vision, if that can be processed in real time, somewhere in a huge cloud environment, it can then bring back only the relevant information at that point of time, rather than floating, a pre-configured kind of experience that is not contextual.
Yeah, exactly. The location-based approach is something that can be really used to filter information. So so if you are a content producer and you know at a certain place in time a real event pops up, then in the virtual world you can react to that event, right? And you can place the content in exactly that moment of time and not having it around all the time on your ride or on any place you are, but only on the places where it makes sense that it appears. Right. So this is also a form of filtering and preventing this kind of over information you get otherwise.
Okay. Let's talk about a seamless experience. Me as customer, I don't really care if it's the Telekom cloud, if it's 5G, if it's whatever. If I'm sitting in a Audi or in a Aston Martin, I don't care. So for me, it's important to have a seamless experience. Of course, it might be limited by the technology, but the experience itself, the content, must be really seamless so I can take it from one device to another. Is there anything where you can give me hope that I'm not trapped, not vendor locked in?
So what we actually do, we provide our content not just for the mobile phone in an app. It's also our customers don't do this. You can consume the same content on a web browser or in your VR headset, wherever you like. So it will be all the time the same content. So there's no the distraction between the different models. It's just the level of immersion that is less on a computer and for sure on a mobile than in a VR headset. But from a content point of view, it will be the same. And I'm as a user, if I'm or our customers, their users can decide which content they want to see. So they have like a browser, like a VR browser, and they get codes. And with this code, you can download the experiences. So you can pre-select all the time what you want to see and what not. And as long as the content that our customers are producing is of high level, as long their customers will consume the content in the future. And I think this is important not just for the B2B part, also for the B2C part, you know. So it's depending on all the content needs to have a high level, and as long as this is guaranteed, everything is fine.
Okay. Before I pass over to the audience to confront us with some questions, each of you is now able to talk about a wish. What you need that should happen immediately to make your life a bit easier. Let's start with you.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. I think we should more work together in the VR industry. I think there's a lot of it's like everyone wants to sell its own stuff, no matter what the use case is behind it. And I think a lot of customers they're not very transparent in this VR jungle. So there's a company looking for a special VR experience, or looking for some goals they want to achieve, like learning goals or skills that an employee or a customer needs to have after watching an experience. And when we then try to sell our solution and make him believe this is the best fit for him. And I think sometimes it would make more sense to use another solution that is available in the market and just make the customer happy and have a good experience with VR. So he even then will move forward with the stuff, instead of having a bad experience and selling one piece of content and have a bad experience for the customer in the end. This is something I would have straight away.
Yeah, for me it's clear it's standards. Missing standards at the moment prohibit a lot in the area of visualization from my point of view. It's really simple, like having clear geometry standards, having clear material standards, having clear standards how to create virtual materials, for example, to have more reliability on the visual aspects. And if this would be there, it would be much easier to exchange contents between different platforms. So it wouldn't be necessary to think about do I render my stuff on WebGL, do I render in Unity, do I render in Unreal Engine, and so on. But without all these standards available, the exchangeability and the seamlessness is not really achievable, or not that easy achievable.
Yeah, in addition to standards, I would say it's really, collaboration is one thing, it's good, I think it's happening, but we have to come to even a step further, co-creation, and that will enable us to actually bring open ecosystems where everybody can contribute and can take part in, like the OpenXR Cloud initiative, for example, where we say, okay, it shouldn't be, dominating systems that are giving the XR experiences to people according to their business model, but it's more like, okay, we shape that together in a very co-creative manner. That would be very good for me.
Yeah, talking about standards, one disadvantage of standards is always that it kind of hinders you from releasing the next best thing, right? The next big thing, because a standard is basically something that is written in stone, right? So you can change the standard, but this is always a kind of everyone coming together and contributing to the common to common structures. And what you maybe want to have is something like a standard that is extensible, because everyone wants to contribute with his innovation, right? And so the standard is, it is important to keep that standard open and to make everyone contribute to expand that standard over time. This is maybe one more aspect we should think about if we want to increase technology and make it better for everyone.
I've got two wishes. The first, very quick ones, but the first is that with Fantasia, I had this snappy kind of flippant remark to the train operators, which was, time flies if you spend hundreds of billions of pounds on HS2, high-speed trains and tracks. or time flies when you're having fun. And the appreciation that the journeys is important. It's not just about getting it from A to B in this fastest way possible. It's about raising the importance of the experience of that journey. And second, it is, especially with this technology, is to get more artists on the table with tech companies, so that there's ideas, and it feels sometimes the technology is driving when the ideas fundamentally are going to be what is going to create the use cases and the traction or whatever with these technology. There you go.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I see here one question. How can clients create their own content? So I guess this is a question to you. So I assume that, imagine a family that is sick of playing Beat Saber Beat in their Audi on the back seat. How can they create their own content to keep the children quiet?
So, good question. I'm not a creative director of the VRdirect, but I think, yeah, it's easy. So you can include your children in the content creation and just hand them over a camera and see what comes out in the end. I think there will be some funny moments, and yes, later then you can use a platform like ours just to build a virtual reality tour on top of that and show them or make them make them experience things they never see, perhaps from your point of view. Yeah, but it's more creative stuff, you know. It's all about the ideas that you have.
We are all creatives. Come on. When do you expect? I can't read it.
Standards are
the
defined.
need interfaces standards. Yeah. When will these standards be defined? What do you think? How fast should we pressurize it? What do we exactly need? Should it be just here in Germany? Do we need a European solution? Of course, excluded of UK.
From my point of view, in this area, it's not really possible to define standards by a sort of gremium or something like that. I think this will not work out, and this goes in your direction because the creativity must be given, and those gremiums or stuff like that is too rigid and too inflexible to define such things. I think the market itself will do the definition. So it's just a question of who will be the fastest and the biggest at the end, and this one will define the standard. Hopefully, if the system is open and not a black box system. But if it's a good standard, it doesn't depend at the end. If the standard is good or not, it's more about is it accepted, and does it help to bring your solutions on the street?
Okay, so it's about the best solution that should be available. So try to do your best to bring the best on the road.
Let's say the most successful solution, because it's always about the customer, what the customer accepts, and not what is the best.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Thank you, guys. It was a great panel. Thanks a lot. Thank you to the audience, and enjoy the day.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. you.